Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages. Now, normally when you hear about a sequel out there to one of your most beloved franchises, like the Beetlejuice ones out there, the movie that was absolutely great, sparked some wonderful cartoons and all this other kind of stuff, especially in the modern era, you go eek and you kind of cringe initially. But when I first heard the reports about Beetlejuice and what the movie was going to entail and who was going to be in charge of it, and the fact that all of the Michael Keaton was coming back, and then of course that Jenna Ortega was going to be in it, and that everybody was coming back together for it. Tim Burton was going to be in charge of the whole thing, that he was doing it under his own independent studio and it would be distributed by somebody else. I started to get cautiously optimistic, and the more and more I heard about they were using practical effects, and then of course Michael Keaton's coming out and flat out saying it's the most fun he's had working on a movie in literal decades with all the practical effects. He felt like it was right back into the groove. This is the kind of stuff he wanted to work for. Everything I heard was nothing but happiness and joy and about trying to recreate that feeling from the originals, from absolutely everybody. And it turns out, boys and girls, with the trailers looking absolutely amazing, a lot of fans are super excited about this return to the Beetlejuice universe in live action. It looks like all of that hard work, all of those practical effects, and that just all of that love that seems to have been poured into Beetlejuice is actually going to pop off and make sure it actually ends up paying off, because it looks like it is tracking right now for a huge opening weekend, ladies and gentlemen, and we've got some juicy details of exactly the numbers that we've got here, and it's already been updated since they wrote this article this morning at the time of the recording. So we're going to check out this article from Deadline.com, getting all the juicy details and some of the reasons why they think this movie is absolutely going to crush it at the box office. But before we do, if you do enjoy our content, hit that like button, share with all your friends, and subscribe or follow if you have not already, because we are inching our way closer and closer to 1,200, and I could not do that without every single one of you. Also, leave us a comment in the section down below and let us know whether or not you are excited for Beetlejuice, or if you're going to be a little more cautiously optimistic and wait to hear what some of your most lusted and trusted and reliable reviewers out there on the internet that you can actually trust what they say about this. So, let's get into this article from Deadline.com. Beetlejuice set to pop $65 million to $80 million opening as a Jenna Ortega, Michael Keaton sequel hits tracking. Early look box office update. So now one of the situations is we don't actually know what the estimated budget is on this movie, and it is still about 3 weeks out. I believe it comes out on September 6th. So these numbers could change between now and then. The nice part is that know that we've got at least another 3 weeks. It should not have to deal with any kind of major competition from something like Deadpool and Wolverine, which I do think appeals to a very similar audience. You might think that's crazy, but I promise you, the kind of people that love Beetlejuice absolutely loved Deadpool and Wolverine as well. So, thank you, Anthony D'Alessandro over there at Deadline. So we're going to go to the previous first before we get to the updated budget. So Beetlejuice the updated box office tracking. Beetlejuice, the long-awaited Warner Brothers sequel to 1988 Tim Burton directed haunted comedy starring Michael Keaton, landed on 3-week tracking this AM with an outlook of $65 million to $75 million. But don't be surprised if it does more, for there's too much fuel on this building box office bonfire. And it's one of those things too, I don't think you can get early tickets for this yet. They don't even have like the screening schedule out. So I'd be really curious to see how those early tracking numbers come in for all of the pre-orders on the tickets, because those Thursday night previews are going to give us a huge idea of where this movie is going to go going forward. And hopefully it comes in like gangbusters, because I do honestly believe this is going to end up being a good movie that is respectful of the fans, and it's made by people we know and love, with actors that actually care about the source material and what they are putting into this. This is not just another paycheck for the people involved in this movie. I could be wrong. It's happened once or twice, but more often than not, when I get a good feeling about something, it's generally a good sign. So we'll see what happens. So recent box office history has shown for these long-delayed sequels, i.e. Star Wars, Bad Boys, Top Gun Maverick, they have a great theatrical potential. Note, no one is seeing Beetlejuice in the vicinity of Force Awakens or Maverick yet. One astute industry source remarked, "This looks bigger than Despicable Me 4. And that would be insane, because that pick posted a 3-day opening of $75 million and a 5-day of $122.6 million last month. And it is currently banked $332.6 million domestically and $808.5 million worldwide. Honestly, if they probably would have left that thing in the theaters another month, it probably would have ended up cracking $1 billion. But you know what? They've made their money time and time and over again on the Despicable Me franchise. That's one of the most successful family-friendly entertainment franchises that we have seen in decades. It is crazy, and they're absolutely crushing Disney in every aspect when it comes to that kind of stuff as well. But that's one of the things it is. It's true, and that's not, I mean, a $75 million opening for essentially what was a kind of obscure horror film back in the day. I think this could end up being awesome. So the movie, which obviously also headlines the Wednesday star Jenna Ortega, is attractive with women over 25 first and under 25 next. You'll remember Ortega was propelled by Scream, yada, yada, yada. Beetlejuice is 23 days out from release, debuting on that magical post-Labor Day weekend, first frame in September. And that is always a smart move because it gives you this very wide opportunity. You've also obviously got a lot of people off work for the holiday and all that kind of stuff, so you're going to get more viewings, you're going to get more big families going. You're going to have people in from out of town. Everybody's wanting to go to the movies. Everybody's wanting to get out of the heat, you know, especially as somebody that lives in South Texas during that September heat. It's one of the things you want to get in, go somewhere AC. The movies are a great option for an afternoon trip out there. So it's one of them situations where we're going to end up seeing what happens. Warner Brothers has turned it into a hotbed for horror movies in recent years with titles like It and The Nun. Beetlejuice will have its world premiere at the Venice Film Festival opening night pick. And the bullhorn on the film will only grow louder. And obviously you can go check out the trailers. If you guys ever catch my live streams Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time, we watch trailers all the time. We review them. We talk about them. And these are trailers that I have enjoyed time and time again. And I'm hoping they're not giving too much of the story away, because that's my only real complaint about the Deadpool and Wolverine marketing is the trailers gave a little bit too much of the really fun things in the movie that I would have liked to see as more of a surprise. Hopefully Beetlejuice hasn't done that yet, but I think there's a big swing in the third act that they have not given us any kind of hints to whatsoever other than who might show up, and I think I'm honestly really, really going to continue to be excited for this. So the original Burton movie opened to $8 million on March 30th, 1988, and ended its domestic run at $74.7 million. It became a huge hit in the home aftermarket in the salad days of this video cassette era. I know I watched this a whole bunch of times, replays on the old television. I had it on I rented it, I had it on VHS. This was an absolutely wonderful movie that I watched time and time again as a kid. So Wednesday creators, which my wife absolutely loves, and Jenna Ortega is not putting up with any BS when it comes to that television show, so shout out to her. I really need to get into that show. And Alfred Gu penned Beetlejuice. The sequel sees the original return, yada, 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 Winona Ryder, everybody else. And this is one of them situations where I'm excited to see what happens. So Warner Brothers owns the two biggest openings in September with It and It Chapter 2. Well, let's see what happens. Do I think Beetlejuice is going to beat out the first It movie? No. But at the exact same time, we've got an updated number right here. NRG, the National Research Group, just reported an $80 million opening weekend for Beetlejuice. And then imagine if after this premieres at the Venice Film Festival, right, all the critics are just raving over this. There's a lot of people out there that still trust the critics. There's a lot of people still take their opinion with a little bit of actual weight and substance. And if they end up absolutely loving this movie, if they hearken back to it like what they did with the Alien Romulus movie, which I do also think is going to do really, really well at the box office and make a lot of the fans happy, we could actually end up seeing this movie do absolutely bonkers and insane numbers. Obviously, it's going to drastically outstrip because of inflation and everything else, of ticket prices and all that other kind of stuff, the first movie. But I'm really kind of curious to see where this movie goes. I mean, it would not surprise me if we do end up seeing Despicable Me numbers out of this, something where it could reach 800, who knows, maybe 1 billion worldwide. I'm just kind of curious to see how many Beetlejuice fans out there are super excited about. But I, for one, I think all of the signs are pointing in the right direction for this movie to end up being a success, and even the box office tracking numbers are looking like this movie is going to end up being a smash hit success, make a whole lot of money, and hopefully make the fans really happy, because in an era and a time where we have been absolutely trained to being burned over and over again by sequels and reboots and everything else, getting to see something like this done very well by people that love it and people are actually invested in it honestly gives me nothing but good signs. So let's see what happens, boys and girls, because at the end of the day, the audience and the fans, you folks out there, are the ones that matter the most. So Beetlejuice, let's see if you can do a good job or not. Make the fans happy and we'll make you rich. But as of right now, all the signs are pointing in a very good direction for Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice.